There's a storm brewing in the royal world once again, and this time it has less to do with what was said and more to do with timing. Prince Harry has just announced an upcoming trip to Canada, and the announcement came at a very specific moment. The exact same moment Prince William is currently taking center stage in Brazil, representing the monarchy on a major diplomatic tour. For some, this might look like harmless coincidence. But for royal watchers, commentators, and thousands of voices filling online comment sections, the timing feels deliberate, strategic, and even provocative. The question being asked is simple: why now? Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. Prince William's trip to Brazil is not just another royal engagement. It is a carefully planned appearance on the world stage, aimed at strengthening international relations and highlighting environmental initiatives that the Prince of Wales has made central to his public mission. This tour is one of the largest and most visible overseas engagements he has undertaken since stepping fully into his role as the heir preparing for kingship. The cameras are watching, the public is paying attention, and the symbolism is unmistakable. William is positioning himself as the future, as the steady hand of leadership, and as the figure who will carry the monarchy forward. And then, just as those headlines took shape, Prince Harry's announcement came. Harry is set to travel to Canada in connection with the Invictus Games, the international adaptive sporting event he founded to honor wounded veterans and service members. The Invictus Games have always been Harry's proudest legacy outside the royal institution, something he created through his own vision, not through tradition or inherited responsibility. The event has done undeniable good, lifting up voices and stories that are often ignored. But for critics, the issue is not the Invictus Games. The issue is the timing of the announcement. Online reactions were swift and intense. One comment that has been repeated across platforms says, "So much for not trying to horn in on the royal family. He wanted freedom, now let him live without the titles." The message behind comments like this speaks to something deeper than speculation. Many people saw Harry and Meghan's decision to step back from royal life as a clean break. They believed the couple would carve out a new identity far away from the institution they said caused them pain. But to those critics, every time Harry re-emerges in the public eye at a strategically significant moment, it feels like he is still competing for attention inside the very system he said he wanted to escape. Royal correspondents have pointed out that if the announcement had come a week earlier or a week later, the conversation would be completely different. But announcing the trip now positions Harry in the news cycle alongside William, and regardless of intent, that fuels the narrative that the brothers remain in competition. And this narrative is powerful because it didn't start recently. It stretches back to childhood, was sharpened through adolescence, and has defined much of the public's perception of them as adults. William is duty. Harry is independence. William is the heir. Harry is the spare. The public cannot resist comparing them, and announcements like this keep that dynamic alive. There is also the question of whether Harry is truly comfortable in the identity he now lives. When he stepped away from royal duties, his message was one of escape, clarity, and peace. He spoke of wanting a life free from pressure, free from headlines, free from the constant scrutiny that shaped his entire existence. But since then, he hasn't stepped away from public life. He has stepped deeper into media, storytelling, and global activism. Books, interviews, documentaries, lawsuits, and televised appearances have made him more visible than ever before. For some observers, this creates a contradiction, wanting to walk away from the spotlight while continuing to stand directly in it. Supporters of Harry, however, argue that the criticism is unfair. They say the timing has nothing to do with William's trip and everything to do with coordinating a major international sporting event. They point out that Harry has every right to promote the Invictus Games in any way he sees fit. They emphasize that his identity outside the royal family is now grounded in causes he personally chooses, not duties assigned to him. For these supporters, the outrage reflects lingering resentment from those who simply have not accepted his departure. But the criticism remains persistent, and that brings us to the emotional heart of the issue. The public is still divided on Harry. There are those who see him as a man who broke free and reclaimed his voice. And there are those who see him as someone who abandoned responsibility and continues to draw from the institution he rejected. The fact that this tension still fuels discussion years later shows that the wounds of the royal split have never fully healed. Meanwhile, Prince William continues his royal duties with a sense of steady composure. His trip to Brazil is being framed as a demonstration of leadership and global partnership. He is photographed greeting presidents, discussing environmental solutions, and representing stability. The contrast between the brothers could not be clearer. One is building legacy within the monarchy. The other is building legacy outside of it. And yet, somehow, they remain locked in parallel narratives that refuse to separate. So what does this moment really mean? Is it a calculated move by Harry to remain in the public eye during a moment of royal visibility? Is it coincidence, nothing more than a calendar overlap? Or is it something deeper, a sign that the past, no matter how far someone tries to run from it, has a way of remaining present? In the end, the interpretation depends entirely on where the viewer stands. Those who support Harry will continue to see purpose and independence. Those who criticize him will continue to see rivalry and attention-seeking. And those who are simply watching will continue to wonder how two brothers who once walked side by side became symbols of two completely different futures. As this story continues to unfold, one thing is certain: the world is still watching both of them, closely, carefully, and passionately. The royal narrative may change, but the fascination remains. If you found this report informative, make sure to stay with us. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell us in the comments, do you believe the timing was intentional, or is the world reading too much into coincidence? Your voice shapes the discussion, and we'll be here to follow every development as it unfolds.